Hey everyone, welcome to Zoetic Chat, Unleash Your Life's Journey with me, John Mayfield. This ultimate podcast for spiritual guidance will answer all your life, soul and spiritual questions. I'm thrilled to have you join me every week. My vast knowledge, wisdom and experience are crucial to your personal and spiritual growth. Together we will explore a variety of topics and delve deeply into the truths of my life and spiritual path. Don't forget to sign up to my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Hey everyone. Welcome to Zoetic Chat, Release Your Life's Journey. This is Season 2, Episode 3. We're talking about mediumship. We're continuing on from the last session. And what I'd like to do on this one is to try and explain to you how me as a medium works. It will be quite interesting to see how someone that isn't a medium picks up on this information, and if you can actually visualize, see, sense or know what I'm actually talking about. So as a medium, we do work with all the different clairs: clairsentient, clairaudient, clairaugustus, and any other clair that decides to pop in when we're working. Very rarely will you work with all of them at the same time, because it would just blow your mind. But very often we work with 2 or 3 at the same time. So I could see a spirit energy coming towards me and I could hear what that spirit energy is saying. But also I might get a sense or a knowing in my belly. So I don't always hear the words that I need to say to someone. Sometimes I'll just have a knowing feeling that I know what I need to say. Sometimes I'll see maybe some of my family members that would be an indication to say that family member to the person that I'm reading for. So for example, this morning when I was doing a live session on TikTok, my granddad came in and I thought, what's he coming in for? I thought that to myself. I didn't say it out loud. And he said, no, it's not me. It's for them. It's their granddad. And he just said it like that. It was a northern, he got a really northern accent. And I think he'd used to call people ducky as well, or duck. But anyway, he popped in and he said, no, you need to say that it's their grandfather, not me. And that can happen with your aunt, your uncle, a child, a babe in arms. They can make you see something that's happened in your life, but they're not showing you that really. They're showing you what you need to say to the person. There's lots of things. We all get our own tools, a tool set as to what to say with the different tools that we're being given. Like if I get a certain light will be given to me, I'm not going to explain exactly what that is because that's my sign of someone's going to pass or someone has recently passed. So I get a certain light being shown to me when someone has recently passed, and it's usually within the last year, because to spirit side, the last year is like just a flick of a switch, not like a whole year in earthly time. So I get that, but I also get a different light colour if there's a passing happening around a person. Very rarely will I ever say that someone is going to pass around you, because basically we're not God and we shouldn't be talking to people in that way. Sometimes we can, if somebody says to you, my grandma's really ill, and then spirit show me that she's going to pass, I might say something along the lines of, well, make sure you've seen her, make sure you've said everything that you need to say, as though I'm responding to what they're saying, not what the universe is telling me. So that kind of thing we might say to help other people. And sometimes, it's kind of a happy, sad feeling when you get that coming in. we also get symbols. So we get different symbols being shown to us, shapes and colours, but they all have a different meaning for the person that you're reading. So I might get a red circle or sphere coming in for one person and it'll mean something, and then to another person that I'm reading it will mean something totally different. So I have to say how I'm feeling with that particular symbol that's being given to me. I feel it's always important to keep positive and to be supportive when you're delivering messages. And most of mine, I can say, are uplifting. Although there was one a couple of days ago, I cried so much, I sobbed. And it's someone that asked for her son to come around and bring her a message. This was on social media. Now, I know this lady, only I've met her on TikTok a few times. I know her as in she comes to see my lives. And she asked for her son. Now, her son is around her a lot, and I've known her since he passed, which is quite a while. He's a grown man, and he very often comes in and speaks to her. But yesterday, she asked for him. And when she asked for him, I thought, that's unusual, because she normally will say, well, just give me what you can. Anyway, he came in and he showed me all the things that he normally shows me, like where they used to go together, something that connected to his son, and just other bits and bobs that connected to her. But I felt that he'd got more. And he was sitting next to me, but then he moved chairs to sit somewhere else, as if he couldn't settle. And then he went away and came back in again. But I didn't describe all this to her. I just observed what he was doing as a medium. And it all happened really quickly. And then he came back, and he came back in with this sweeping energy of pure love. And as it swept over me, it really overwhelmed me. And that's what made me start crying and sobbing, because I was connected to the pure love of the other side and the pure love of him bringing it in for his mum, his son, and for other family members. It was just so overwhelming. And then every time he spoke to me, I could feel this pure love. And I was crying so much. These are the times that you aren't warned about, or I was never warned about by anyone. And I don't think you can feel the depth and capacity of that overwhelming love when it's given to you from someone that's passed over. So even now, after doing this work for years and years, I still get overwhelmed with the presence of someone's loved one. And like I said, this was only yesterday. He got so much to say to her. And it was his son's birthday coming up. And I think that's why she asked for him to come in. And he acknowledged that he was going to be around. And the love, it was just amazing. I can't explain to you how amazing that love feeling is. I would want everyone to experience that. But I guess some of us will only experience that when we go over. You know what? I like to think of life as a holiday. And I like to think of the other side as my home. Because if I think of it like that, everything makes sense. Because sometimes people have a nightmare holiday. What do they call it? Holiday from hell. And then other people have amazing holidays. Other people go on learning retreats and growth places, and experienced so many different things. So for me, in this latter part of my life, I'm thinking of Earth as a holiday from the home that I've come from and the home that I'll go back to. And the more I connect to those souls that have passed, the more that feeling resonates with me. And it did resonate with me so much yesterday. Him being happy where he is, sending that eternal love to us through me. It can't be anything else than our home on the other side. But it's not our home as a human, it's our home as a soul. So our life is the life of our soul. We are just sharing it in a human body for however many minutes, weeks, hours, days, years we are on holiday for. I like that. I like the feel of it. I like the sound of it. And I like the fact that it makes sense for me. You have to make sense of life yourself. No one else can make sense of it for you. They can give you tips. They can give you teaching. They can give you guidance and messages from loved ones, excuse me, and psychic messages into the future. But they can't make you feel something. You have to do that yourself. And the only way to do it, in my opinion, is to connect to your soul. Because your soul has everything that you need. Because it's eternal. I love that. I love the fact that my soul is eternal. And it doesn't make me want to go to where my soul lives every day when it's not in my human body. But it's giving me that feeling of peace as I get older, that I am going home, basically. Anyway, that said, let me connect to a soul now and bring in some words, bring in some messages, and whoever can take this can take it. You might recognise a little bit of it, you might recognise a lot. I have nothing written down. I'm just going to do this directly from spirit as they're coming into me. I will try my best to give you what I'm feeling when I say what I say. But sometimes, if you've seen me work, you'll know that I do speak really quickly. And my voice is getting faster now, so I know that they're around me. But in my mind, I'm just asking them to slow everything down so that I can give explanations. Or the explanation, shall I say, that they'll allow me to give today to you. So I know that I have a gentleman. How do I know this? Because I can see him. I can see a gentleman that stands in front of me. He's standing there and he's wearing brown shoes, like brogues. If you don't know what brogues are, go and look up what a brogue shoe is. He's got lovely socks on. He lifted his trouser leg up then. He's very proud of his socks. And I feel that he used to fold them really neatly in his drawer. I don't feel he did the washing because I feel someone else puts them in the drawer, but then he folds them up. And then he pops his trouser leg back down again and gives it a little shake. His trousers are brown and with a very faint cream pinstripe, and he's got a turn up on his trousers. He has lost weight because he shows braces, or I think some people call them suspenders, clipped to the waist of the trousers to hold them up. They weren't always big because he shows me himself bigger and smaller, but he likes these trousers. He then has a knitted waistcoat that would have been knitted by his wife. She didn't knit very well, and this is her pride and joy. And his too. He was a happily married man, and he was a man's man. He loved his wife, and he treated her very well. He was a lot taller than her, and he, like I say, he wore this waistcoat. I know that he's a lot taller than her because she stands by his side and he shows me the height difference. How do I know that he loved her? Because I have this feeling of being in love, this feeling of loving someone. And then he showed me his wife. But also, it was no trouble to be around her and to help her as much as he could, because he shows me scenes now of being in a house, doing little DIY jobs, sitting talking and sitting listening to her, and they did things together. He also takes me up now to a jacket that is just plain brown, but it matches the trousers. He shows me quite wide shoulders, and his neck is quite broad also. Sometimes he would have a bit of stubble on his chin and around his cheek area. He didn't like that, but sometimes he just didn't have the time to shave. When he did shave, he used an old-fashioned razor, the one where they would sharpen it on a leather strop. He's showing me the leather strop, and I'm sitting here doing the motion of what you would do to sharpen it. So that's what he's making me do, to say sharpened it. He sharpened it on a strop. This might feel a bit long-winded to some people, but that's the only way that I can get it across. Then he takes me up to his hair. Oh, it's impeccable. He would have put something on it called Brill Cream, which is a bit like a cross between a jelly and an oil, as in it kept their hair in place. So he'd put a spot in his hand, rub it together, he's showing me, plaster it on his hair and then brush his hair back. He has brown eyes, just normal features really. I can't get anything bigger or smaller than a normal nose or a normal sized face. When I say normal, I mean average. His ears didn't particularly stick out, they weren't particularly big, so good features. I feel he got quite a long face, and like I'm going down the middle of his face, it was quite long. So I'm showing you quite a good description, I feel, of him. His hands his fingers are soft, he's showing me. I'm rubbing my fingers together here, and my fingers are soft, and those are his fingers. So I have to say that he wasn't a manual worker, although he helped around the house. I'm just waiting now to see what he brings in. He's just showing me his wife coming back close to him. She was a hard worker. She went to work and worked hard, they both did, to keep the house going. He's making me aware of a bracelet. Now, how he's making me aware of that is I just needed to touch my wrist. I touched my wrist, and in my mind I said, what's that? And then I heard the word, it's a bracelet. The bracelet was given in the family and passed down. So I can see the bracelet coming down through generations. I don't think his wife wore it. I think it came through his family. And it's either in your family or it's being given to the generation before you and not reached yours yet. He's given me the name Tom, and I can see that in letters in the room that I'm sitting in. I can see the letters T-O-M. He also gives me the word Adrian. I can see that written in the room, Adrian. I can also see written Brenda, and I can see Alicia. Those names will be significant in the future or the present. Now remember, when I work, I give the past, the present and the future. So it's how it fits into your life. If you don't know, you will know. So he's giving me those names. He's also going to give me some dates. And how do I know that? Because he just showed me a calendar. And he's got dates circled. So I'm on the month of May, and he's circling 11. Then he's ripping that off and going to August. And he's circling the 27th, 29th and 2nd of August. He's ripping that off, but he's going over into another year now. So we're going into next year. And he's circling the 3rd, the 4th and the 5th of January. Those dates will be significant either now or in the future. So sometimes he just tells me dates in my mind, but I think they're being a bit more graphic so that I can speak it to you and you can get a visual. Because they don't always show me the calendar. He will just give me a date and I'll say it. But I can't explain it to you that way. Then he makes me aware of a fan, as in somebody's too hot and needs a fan. I can see a fan on the floor. You know, I've got my recording device on a stand and it's changed to a fan. I can see my phone's actually changed to a fan. So I have to say a standalone fan would be there and shared with someone who needs to call down. It's drawing my attention to a screen and showing me in my mind's eye a TV and somebody getting like solace from a TV. It's like they watch a particular program that they can zone out to. They're not really watching it, they're just zoning out. And it makes them feel good. He's also showing me that Deborah, I just heard the name Deborah being said in my ear. So that's exactly how I felt that. They just threw the name in. He shows me Wilson Street. He shows me Green Street. And he shows me Maple Grove. Those streets and groves are either now or in the future. He showed me them by placing those words in my mind, and I just know that I needed to say them. He also brings in a baby in arms. So he's gone and he's sitting down now. So I saw him standing in front of me. Now he's moved away and he's sitting down in a chair and he's put his arms together and he's rocking a babe in arms. And he's pointing to you and saying, it belongs to you. It's your baby. And she's growing up in spirit. So that baby was either lost to miscarriage, termination, or born past. But for you to know that baby's growing up in spirit with the beautiful grandfather is amazing. He's smiling. He loved children. He loved grandchildren, children coming around him and being in their company. And he's joking and saying, but he could walk away. I don't feel he had many children, but I feel he was one of many. Because he shows me him and lots of children alongside him, but I know they're brothers and sisters, but I don't feel his wife gave birth. I feel just one. I feel she lost one, but gave birth to one son. He's showing me somebody losing a key, so I can see a door and the key isn't there, it's just gone. And somebody's coming up to the door to try and open it, but they haven't got the key. So I know to say there's a key missing or a key lost to a door. And then I could say, if you want to make that symbolic, the next door that's ready to open isn't quite ready because you haven't got the key for it. So as you're doing this sort of work, you learn that some things come in symbolically as well as a physical thing that you need to tell the person. So if they were to show me next door's grass, their lawn, and then a big hedge, I would say he's telling you that the grass isn't greener on the other side because he's not showing me you going over to your neighbour. He's just showing me the grass and a hedge. They might speak that and you can hear it to repeat. They'll show it in different ways. What else has he got? It seems funny saying it like this and really speaking slowly. It's very much out of my comfort zone. Always showing me an office chair and one of those that swirls around. So someone working in an office or has an office in their house and they've got a swivel chair. Don't feel I want to make it gaming, but it feels like I'm working at my computer or at my desk from home, I want to say. I can see an ice cream and an ice cream cone. They're literally showing me that. It's like I'm holding my hand as if I'm holding the cone and I can see the cone on it. I can see it like it's an ice cream, not see it in my mind. I can see it. I can also see an ice rink. So they're putting that ice rink in the room that I'm sitting in and showing me the ice and people skating and someone falling over, and then there's blood on the ice. Then they stop the skaters. You will understand that scenario of someone getting hurt on the ice. But always, when I talk about ice like that, they always make me aware of the thin ice. So symbolically, I can be saying to you that don't forget you could be skating on thin ice. Excuse me. But that is often two-way. When I get that, it's two-way. What I can actually see and what they're making me feel with the thin ice. It's showing me you and your mind getting bigger, your brain growing, if you like. And it's just a way of saying that you've got so much more knowledge to take in. You have so much more to learn, and you have so much more to grow with. So that's for you, that he's telling you that's what's going to happen in your life. Don't stop learning. It's forever going in, going in, going in. But then there comes to a point where you need to stop and allow stuff to come out. So a bit like me teaching you, telling you, explaining how I see things when I'm giving a mediumship reading. He's showing that with you, that you'll need to stop and let out what you know, so you share with other people. That is very, very often people's sole purpose, is to share the information that they've gathered in their lifetime, in this lifetime, with other people, so that they can learn. So that's what I'm seeing with you, the listener, that you're retaining so much information, but there'll be periods where you'll stop and exercise that and share it with others. When I just said exercise, they changed it to exorcise. And then in my mind, I said, what are you doing that for? And they gave me the word paranormal. So those words were just going on in my mind, like I'm telepathically talking to the people that have passed over, in this case, your granddad. But I have moved on a little bit and I can see orbs. So I'm actually speaking to the orbies, to the spirits that have passed over before, but I don't feel they're your relatives. So this is where they're starting to show me things coming into the future as well. So this is where the psychic and medium gets a little bit mixed up sometimes, and I don't differentiate between the two. I never feel that I need to. And I know they give me both together. So I've just dissected that for your benefit. But I'm being shown now psychically moving forward, telepathically being able to speak to the orbies and being given things for your future now. So they're showing me. There's the word stairway to heaven in the future. Someone will be using those words, or there'll be a song connecting to it. I'm also being shown in the future bluebells have a meaning, but will also have a meaning moving forward. I can see in the future when someone's standing there making cheese on toast, that there's something else that happens around that. And what I'm seeing now is a pathway in the future. And it's like little tiny movies popping onto the path. So when I saw the cheese on toast, I could literally see some hands making cheese on toast. So literally tiny little videos being played on the pathway that I can see psychically moving forward. Let's see what else is on that pathway. So as I'm looking in my mind's eye, I can see things in my mind's eye, my third eye, but I can also see a vision of a path in my room. That's not in my mind. That's a literal path being drawn in my room. So I've said about the cheese and the cheese on toast. And then I've got a little tiny hospital scene in the future. But I can see the word no problem. So that's a reassurance. I'm seeing hospital scene and the words no problem to tell you that there will be a hospital visit with you and maybe someone else, because I can see someone else there, but it's no problem. So I have to say that to reassure you. And then as I'm moving forward, I can see more being shown to me. And then I can see a new car. How do I know it's a new car? Because it's not your car. It's a new car that's tied with a ribbon. So the ribbon on the car tells me it's a new car or a gift for you. And then as I'm moving forward, I can see scenes in the future of mountains, roads, scenery, a different place. So they're putting the word new. So you're going to a new place which will have that scenery. When you step into these new places, you'll have deja vu feelings or aha moments because we've already spoken about it. Because this is now going into your mind, you know what I'm telling you. So therefore, you've already seen it and felt it. So when you do feel it, you'll be like, oh, hospital visit, no problem. Excuse me, you'll have those senses. There is also, I just saw in my room, a big spider from spirit running around by the skirting board. And I know that someone doesn't like spiders because they're giving me the word agoraphobia. But it doesn't matter because they're saying that you can get rid of any fears. So the energies that are talking to me now aren't even the Orbeez. They're not your grandfather or his wife. They're just standing there. And to my other side of my body, on the right-hand side now, grandfather was there in front to the left. Then I was seeing the pathway in front. To the right-hand side of my body, I've got other words coming in. Now, this is hearing, so clairaudient. So I'm going to tell you the words that I can hear, literally hear like you can hear me. Random words. Belinda. Visiting the theatre. Sitting in C2. Dancing like you've never danced before. Having a blood test. Moles, as in moles, the animal, not moles on your skin. A magician. Frankfurt, Germany, Malaysia, Benidorm, 5 states, Tempest, Virginia, Mosul, Bangkok, Tempest, Scarlet, Moonshine, Rain. So all of those words I can hear. You now then need to take those words and where do they fit into your life? So some of those words could have already happened. So for example, you might say, oh, I've visited 4 states, so there must be 1 more to come. Or you might say, I can't think of everything that I've said because when that comes in, it goes out again. Tempest. You might know where the word tempest fits into your life, so you can tick that off. And all the other words, places, names that you don't know, scenarios will come to fruition. A lot of people will say to me, can you tell me some random stuff? And that's what they mean. To them, that's random stuff. To me, it's pertinent in your life. So there's lots of different ways that things come in. To me, as a medium, as a psychic, clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient, you're not going to name all the clairs, are you? I just call myself a psychic medium. If I'm doing posters for events that I need to go to, I'll just say psychic medium night. And it kind of covers a whole lot of stuff. But they're always changing the way that you receive things. They're always changing how you give things because that's progression. They've given me things there slightly differently, like I said, because I can talk fast, to how I would normally get them to help you. But not every medium psychic will work the same. And just because you've had a message of something from one, it doesn't mean that another one is going to pick up on it. So sometimes people will come to me and they'll say, oh, what do you think to this? Such and such told me that. And I'll say, well, who's such and such? Oh, a medium that I saw. And I said, well, why aren't you asking that medium? Why are you asking me? And she says, well, I didn't quite believe it. So then I can't tune into the same energies that medium's on, because we're on a different vibration. And I just then either give them a new message or just say, I'm sorry, but go and ask the medium that told you that. You know, you have to be honest. The most important thing is to be honest. Give what you're getting and let the person receiving pop it into their lives. I get people message me, I've probably told you this before, 2 years down the line, and then they'll say, oh, it's all come through true, Jan. In fact, somebody sent me a message the other day from 7 years ago, was it? 8 years ago. I read for this lady, and I read for her live. Actually, she came to my house, and then I gave her email readings after that, and she just messaged me for an email reading. Now, I don't do email readings anymore. I just don't. I don't like doing them, and I can choose now what I want to do. Anyway, so I said, I will do you one. I will do an email reading if that's what you want, but that was a one-off, or it is a one-off. I haven't done it yet. And she commented, I'm ready for another one, and I just want to say how accurate everything was before. And when people come in and say that, when people come back to you, you know that they're receiving the information that you're giving them, and they're in the place in their life to receive it. So that's a little bit about, or an examples of how I work as a psychic medium. And I'm sure there'll be things that I've forgotten to say that I can tell you another time. And I never ask questions. It's not my place to ask questions. If I'm on social media, I just give, and I say, it's for you. I trust the spirits so much, or the guides or the entities or whatever you want to call them, that they are giving me exactly what you need to know. You might not know it. You might not feel it until a little while after. But what right have I got to take that back or question it? I have no right whatsoever. So I never ask questions in that context. If you are sitting with me, if we was both sitting on the sofa now, I'd ask you, have you got what is it that you want to get from the reading? And some of them will just say, see what you've got. I've got nothing I want to get from it. Or they might say, I really want to connect to my grandfather. Or they might say, I want to connect to spirits. And I'll say, is there a particular one? Because for me, the way that I work, if you say your granny, I'll ask for granny and then I'll speak from granny, but then other people can come in at the same time. It just seems to open it up faster. And that's just me. That's just the way that I work, especially on social media. If you say, you want your granny, it's like, oh, granny's coming. And if you say you don't know, they're like fighting, and not fighting physically. They're fighting and saying, oh, it's my turn. So that's one of the reasons that I say, tell me who you would like to come in and speak to you. But if we're sitting together, I'll say the same. But once I start, I will just talk to you. I will stop and say, have you got any questions at certain periods? Or I will say, interrupt me if you want to ask a question. Now, very, very occasionally, I might get 2 or 3 people coming in together, and I might feel a bit confused in myself. And I might say, do you feel there's more than one coming in? Things like that. But I would never, ever ask for clarification on things that they're telling me. I don't feel that you should. Everyone does. I don't think I've seen a medium that works like I do. There will be someone out there, and you're going to probably send me a message and say, well, such and such does. But I don't watch that many other medium psychics to have a comparison. And I don't think you need a comparison. I just feel that you need to do your own thing. Always stay true to yourself and always be authentic. You could look back on my book of faces, maybe 5 or 6 years or even longer, and I'm always saying authentic self. Always. I've never wavered from that, ever. And I always want you to receive exactly what you need. And you'll know that it's that as you're moving forward in your life. You'll have flashbacks to things that I say because my words enter you. So therefore you've got a memory of my words. Whoever they're from, you've still got a memory of it. So you'll flick back to those times and think, oh yeah, I remember that reading and that woman told me that. Some people remember my name. Some people just remember that woman on social media, you know. It's very, very interesting to connect to things like this. It's very interesting and phenomenal to be able to help people in this way. Not just with the psychic medium, because with the psychic medium, you've got the intuition. And when I put on my courses, all of my courses are intuitively guided, intuitively led. None of the courses have pre-written meditations. I do have pre-written slides in a PowerPoint because that's again to give you a visual, to give you something to look at, to give you something to focus on, to give you another way of learning. Because if I just sat there and spoke to you when I'm teaching you something, you'd get bored. But if I've got a visual that I can show you, it's a whole lot. You take it in more. So that's how I would give a message. Now you're going to be, when you see me working, you'll be thinking, oh yeah, I can see where she gets that from. And see how you get things. But don't overcomplicate it. If you're being given a ball, give a ball. Oh, I can see a red ball. Give a red ball. And never say, I do this very occasionally, but never say I don't know. Oh, you get people, mediums, psychics, whoever, and they'll say, well, I don't know if it's this and I don't know if it's that. You need to find another way to say I don't know. Why? Because the person receiving those words from you will turn it around and say, she doesn't know what she's talking about. She's saying, I don't know. So all they hear is, I don't know. Now, the only time that comes out of my mouth is if I can see two scenarios with similar or the same meaning. And I'll say, oh, I'm being guided to say, blah, blah, blah. Or I might say, oh, I don't know, it could be this as well. Or I might say that. But instead of saying I don't know, it could be, say I'm being given two scenarios. I'm sure both are going to pan out in your life. That's a whole better way of saying it instead of saying I don't know. And you listen to them that say, I don't know. Or could you take? Or do you understand? I listened to one lady the other day. I've told you this on the last one. And she still sticks in my mind where, oh, I've got a Chris or a Christine. And they couldn't take either because she kept asking, can you take, can you take? Oh, well, it might be just a C word. Well, where's that all coming from? That wouldn't be any of my spirit guides or people saying that. They would give me the word written or they'd give me the letter. No in between. She was trying to make the word fit to that person. Whereby if you say, past, present or future, if you don't know, you will know, they take it with them. You take it with you and you're happy. Oh yeah, I've got a basket of information here that I can use later on in my life. I'm not saying that I'm right. I just say it differently. And you will only know if I'm right for you when you connect to me. So I want to wish you a amazing day. I want to give you so, so much love from all the spirit energies that have worked with me today. And I'll see you on social media or in your own private one-to-one reading with me. And I do private sessions and I do them in Zoom. I do them on the phone, in WhatsApp, anywhere really. So find your time to connect to me. Check out johnmayfield.com for everything else that's going on. And the next 2 episodes are going to be connecting to my shaman friend. Oh my goodness. I realised I said agoraphobia instead of arachnophobia. Did you spot it? Oh my goodness. I realised I said agoraphobia instead of arachnophobia. Did you spot it? Hey, 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 thank you for tuning in today. Your support is much appreciated. Please consider leaving a review, sharing on social media, and telling your friends about my podcast. You can also join my newsletter at johnmayfield.com. Remember, take what resonates from Zoetic Chat and enrich your life with wisdom in all areas. And stay tuned for the next episode.